drummers that can play like that? Yeah, I love that. So anyway, I was invited to come up here and speak to you guys about cancer. And so, oh gosh, cancer. A terrible word. And it just, it's one of those bad moments in your life. You have these defining moments. We all have them. And some of them come when we're in high school, somebody dropped me at the prom or whatever, whatever. I've had a lot of defining moments in my life. Too many. But all of them have led to sort of how I fought cancer. And one of them was Mickey Hart was my drum teacher before he joined the Grateful Dead. We had Hart Music in San Carlos over here. We taught all the different drummers like Michael Shreve Santana, Spencer Dryden of The Airplane, Bill Kreutzmann for the Grateful Dead, Greg Errico from Sly and the Family Stone, and we could go on, and David Garibaldi from Tower Power. And when we kind of broke that business apart, he went and joined that other band, the Grateful, whatever their name. And in summer 1167, I had just graduated high school. I was like, yeah, man, you know what? I just played for one of the best basketball coaches you could play for, Westmore High School. We had 3 championships in a row. Our coach was Byron Van Alstyne from the former Celtics. And he taught you things that high school teachers, high school coaches, college coaches don't tell you. A lot of stuff. These little things that are just so important to your life as a basketball player. So I thought, you know, I've got all these connections in music. I could probably go play with the Jefferson Airplane because I know Spencer's going to leave them. I could sing all the parts. Mickey may be leaving the Dead. He said I could go play with him. Cool. And what is this? This is draft notice to go to Vietnam? I'm going to go. So my father figure was Mickey Hart. He said, Rain, Michael, you don't have to go to Vietnam. You could be a drummer in the Army band. And you'll get out of all the combat. I promise you. Oh, I tried that. I went to music college in the Army after basic training in Virginia, and I had a 25-mile radius pass. The Dead came into town, and Mickey said, hey, Rain, why don't you come on up to me? We're going to go up to Boston and New York, play at Fillmore West. The Airplane, or Fillmore East, The Airplane, and Hendrix are going to play. We're going to stay at the Marriott. No problem. I said, it's a 25-mile radius pass. We got busted that night. They didn't take me to the 21st precinct. They called the military police because they looked at my pass and went, do you have a 25-mile radius pass here? No. So I went back to the Army band. My commanding officer said, that's it for you. You're gone. So I got orders to go to Vietnam. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not a tough guy. And Mickey again said, well, you're stationed in Fort Ord. You could come up and play with all these guys. You could sit in all these sessions. Let's go to the Airplane session. So I kept running away from my past and doing things I shouldn't have done. I got to see the first rehearsal sessions of that other band, Crosby and Nash. I think they added somebody else. And I wrote down all these lyrics for every one of their songs. Like, oh my God, these are great lyrics and great chords. And Stephen's, I thought, well, that's fine. I guess if I just forget about this, Vietnam will go away. Denial is a good thing. I'll talk about that in a minute because cancer and denial go hand in hand. It's like love and marriage. So Mickey says, you know what, you can get out of this. Fake an ear test. The Army is stupid. Fake an ear test. So I tried to fake an ear test. My ear test guy came out and said, you know what this shows? You're lying. I can put you in the brig for like 6 months and you'll still be in Vietnam, or I don't know what to do. So I went to Vietnam and I'm crying on the plane all the way over there, and I meet the next most important person in my life. His name is David Dolby. I know you don't know who that is. This is his 5th tour of duty in combat. When he said that to me, I was like, you gotta be flipping crazy. He was grabbing by my throat. He's like, don't ever say that to me again. I said, okay, I'm sorry, God, I'm a hippie from San Francisco. I mean, I only even like the Love and Peace and the Jefferson Airplane and Grateful Dead. I really smoke pot and make love, not war, and shut up. And he said, what is wrong? How did you get in this unit? What unit are you in? I said, I don't know. They assigned me this. And he said, you're in the 173rd Airborne Brigade? How the hell did you get here? These are marksman scores? They're terrible. These are hand grenade scores? Terrible. The only thing you could do is physically, you're in great shape. And I said, yeah, that's because I play basketball and we play, shut up! I'm so sorry! Don't yell at me anymore, my God. And he said, so why are you here? And I said, well, I play music. And yeah, I get that. And he said, do you honestly know these types of people? Can you play? And we talked for 22 hours. He used to be a Hell's Angel, and he was the nicest guy in the world. And he said, you're so stupid. I'm like, I didn't want to take insults, but I knew I couldn't punch him out. He was a fairly big guy, much bigger than me. When we landed on the ground, he said, come with me. We went to the Quonset hut. And the Quonset hut was filled with pot smoke. There must have been 300 or 400 guys in there. 2 guys are up there playing guitar. Musicians will love this. And my friend David Dolby, who everybody knew. I didn't realize he had just come back from winning the Congressional Medal of Honor. And when he was telling me about why he did this, I was shocked. I thought, this is the guy I'm sitting next to? Oh my God, he's making me shake. So we walked through this whole Quonset hut. He walks up to the guys that are playing. Hey, you, give me the guitar. You, sing. All right. What do I sing for all these guys? So it's 1, 2, 3, what we fight for? Don't ask, I don't give them. Next stop is Vietnam. And at 5, 6, 7, open up the pearly gates. Hey, there ain't no time to wonder why we're all gonna die. Yeah. So I made a lot of friends that night. I didn't know what they were throwing at us as applause, but I understood they were joints. And David Dolby said, come with me, you'll be on my team. And I said, like, your basketball team? You guys play here? I'm really good, I'm like a power forward. I said, you're so stupid. No, I'm in long range patrol reconnaissance. I'm an airborne ranger. We're in special forces. I'm gonna send you away for 6 weeks because you don't know shit. You're gonna go to survival school, commando school, you're gonna go to every kind of school, they're gonna rip you up left and right. When you come back to me, you're gonna know how to fight. You won't be afraid of anything when you come back. Because right now, you are, and excuse the word, I know you've heard it, right now you're a pussy. And you're of no use to me whatsoever. Other than when you come back, I want you to entertain my troops. We'll have missions, 4 days in, 4 days out. When we come out, you play for the guys 4 days. When we come in, back in the field, you're a fighting machine. Got it? See you later. So 6 weeks later, I come back to his unit. And my first mission out, I didn't know what I was doing. I was afraid of everybody in my unit because I had understood in Special Forces there were only 6 on our team. We didn't go out with infantry. There was 100, 120. It was just 6. And we were never out in the regular battlefield. We were always beyond battle lines. Special Forces is a little different. When you go through every day of running, doing martial arts, training as hard as you can, you get into this and you go, this is going to be cake. Until somebody fires on you. Until you get incoming. And you hear that. And when you hear rounds coming at you, they don't sound like bang. They sound like crack, 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 crack. And you see that the tracers that are coming at you aren't our red tracers, they're green tracers. So when they come at you, you know that's going to be fire. Most of the times on missions, we're outnumbered. The numbers were ridiculous. The 6 of us against 100 or 300. And so, defining moments. Cancer is a really bad day. One of my worst days, we were out of water. We had a double mission. We were out of water for about 2 days. We were almost out of ammo. I got hit in my leg, this is my big purple heart, with shrapnel. And I was bleeding down in my socks. And we were told, oh yeah, you need an LZ, that's a landing zone, to be picked up. It's at about 3 miles. And then they changed our orders, and then it was gonna be 5 miles. Then it was gonna be 8 miles. Then it was gonna be 11 miles. You're running back 11 miles with blood filling your socks, and all I'm thinking about is, God, I just want to go back to the Fillmore Auditorium. I shouldn't be here! And it was a defining moment, because once I got on the chopper, I thought I'm going to make this, and if I can make it through this, I can make it through any damn thing.
Yeah!
Woo! So at any rate, I came home and wanted love. I got married, and then my wife committed suicide. And I went, jeez, does life ever stop? And one of the members of the Grateful Dead said, you know what, our whole scene, nobody will ever hear of. Don't get in these bands. Go to music college. Get a music education. Learn to read music. Play real music. Nobody will ever hear the Grateful Airplane or the Jefferson Dead. I'll probably be building decks in 5 years. Okay, so I went to Quarter School of Music, got a great music education. The VA did not pay for that, so I ended up in debt. And I had to go into the health food industry to pay for the debt. I learned a lot about vitamins, nutrition, which I still do today. And that became the cornerstone of what I had to do to get better. It became what sort of propelled me as I got into basketball with the University of Washington, the LA City League. And the LA City League turned a lot of heads to me because most of the guys there were players, real players. I was one of only 3 white guys in the league. I was very short. My center always told me, man, I don't know what you're doing on this team, but whatever you're doing on this, just play defense and shut your mouth. All right, okay. Except, you know what, I like the way you fight, because something that I found when I came back from Vietnam, I was no longer afraid of anybody. I had become an airborne ranger. I had become special forces. I couldn't walk down the street anymore and be afraid. I had to turn my thought process around because I thought everybody on the street should be afraid of me because of what I know now. I was heavily armed when I came back. Guys in my band said, you gotta get rid of these weapons. And what do you carry on you? I said, well, I carry a 9mm back here. I've got 2 Gerber knives, one back here, one strapped back here. And do you want to know everything else? Don't do any more of that. Okay. But then I had another defining moment. When I was on the road with those bands, it was hangovers or hoops. Which one do I do? Do I do drugs and alcohol? Or I can find the best basketball players in any city that we're in and play with them. So I'd come back after a session before a gig. They'd go, how you doing, Michael? I'm doing great. How you guys doing? Go, oh my God, I'm still working off a hangover. Right. I thought, man, how can you live like this? Like I'm taking 50 to 70 vitamins a day. Because if anything ever hits me, like a heart attack or cancer, I want to be really prepared for that. So I went through all of that, went through a lot, and I got to come back to the Bay Area after that, even tried out for the Warriors. But I got to know a lot of great guys. When I was in high school, I got to meet Rick Barry at one of our seminars from the Golden State Warriors. Later I met him in the 70s, later I met him in the 90s. We've been friends a long time. Rick Barry will tell me exactly the stuff you don't want to hear. Another good friend from the Warriors became Al Attles. Al Attles is he was general manager of the Golden State Warriors as senior vice president. I'll mention Al in one more second. Of all these people that I met, I just had met this girl in a health food store, Kathy. Wow. I was like, man, I'm not afraid. It's like, I don't care. If any guy was like threatening, so why should he be threatened by this woman? I went right up, hi, you new in town? Oh, you just started for this company? I know that company, right? Why don't we get together and exchange phone numbers? Nothing will ever happen to that. She calls me one morning, hi. And I said, you wouldn't believe it. Last night I had an audition with David Crosby. And we sat up all night and played. And it was incredible. I mean, I'd worked for this all my life. And I'm playing tonight with him at the Keystone in San Francisco. And we're so excited. David was like, oh man, this is just great, because nobody in the band of Crosby, Stills Nash never will ever talk to me again. I didn't really know why. I got to know why a little bit later. Kathy listened to me for 4 hours, gush about my music career, about Vietnam, about basketball. She didn't know anything. My first date with Kathy, I took her to an NBA game. I said, this is very important to me. This date, we can be over. So we go to the game. I said, we're going to sit up in the dark rung. There's no white people up there. It's all black people. So we go up there. I'm explaining the game to her. And she's asking really good questions. If you know Kathy, as a realtor, she asks great questions. What is a pick and roll? What's a backdoor cut? What's a give and go? Why do they call it cross and run? Why do they call it an under and over? What's a screen? What's a pick? Are they the same thing? What's a technical foul? What's a green zone? What's a black defense? God, she was, and all the guys around me go, hey, Rain Man, she asking good questions. Why do they know you? Yeah, all right, Rain Man, she's nice, man. Yeah, and then Kathy said something about, who is that number 15 down there? He acts like a little monkey. You want to pet his head? And I said, don't say that. Please don't say that around here. And guys around are going, man, she's funny. Yeah, no, we may not get out of here alive. Several years later, Kathy knows so much about the NBA. If we watch a game, she'll say, Michael, you were diagramming the play and you missed a double pick at the free throw line. Run it back again. There was a foul. Power forward came out, hit somebody with an elbow. Shouldn't that be called? We run it back. She's right. She's right about a lot of things. As we got together, I found out she wasn't like my first wife, Terry. She wasn't going to commit suicide. She wasn't going to run around on me. She would always tell me the truth. Hard love is a difficult one. And in no amount of time, I got into real estate. Kathy said, you'd be really good at that. You seem to get to know a lot of people. And you're very about integrity. If you foul somebody, say you fouled somebody. Don't argue the call. Well, that's the way a lot of players believe. Raise your hand, admit it, I fouled somebody, and move on, learn from there. There are certain bottomless pits of learning that I found in life. Music is one of them, right? Any musicians?
Woo!
Can you give me a little? Yeah. Real estate is a bottomless pit of learning. Being married for 36 years is a bottomless pit of learning. And I thought I was done. And I'm sorry, I'm probably running over here. But in the 90s, I got to meet Don Nelson, again, Al Addles, and again, Rick Barry, and the whole coaching staff, Nate Thurman, Bob Lanier, and wonderful people. Wonderful, successful people. Not successful because of basketball, but because of many other things. About 5 years ago, I heard that I had prostate cancer. And I thought, you know what, that doesn't touch me. It's not going to touch me. Forget it. I'm in denial. I'm walking away. And my wife said, these scores, and I said, the scores, and it's not like basketball scores. They can break. They can be wrong. I take all these vitamins. I've lived organically all this time. I still play basketball. I play music. I do all this stuff. I chess. It's logical. And I don't see a logical reason why I should get cancer. And then we found out that prostate cancer has something to do with Agent Orange. And I guess in the 173rd Airborne Brigade, I didn't know that 2 barracks away from us was the 173rd Chemical Brigade. I never knew what they did. They didn't know what we did. They had these big drums, 55-gallon drums, and that was Agent Orange. I didn't realize that looking at pictures of what our LZ looked like, it was nothing but red dirt in the middle of a rainforest. How did it get that way? It was Agent Orange. So I'm never going to blame anybody. I don't care how it started. I don't care if I did something wrong, if somebody else did something wrong. Nobody, once you have cancer, cares how it starts. You got to push that away, because it's stupid. Where did it start? Who cares? You've got it. But I just kept thinking, okay, well, you know what? I don't have it. Second year, I really don't have it. The third year, we changed doctors, because I didn't like what he said to me. The fourth year, we realized it had gotten bad. But our oldest grandson got in a head-on collision. He was in a coma for 2 months. Ron Gable knows this. A lot of people who know us know this. For Nico, we pushed the cancer aside. Just said, forget the tests. And my PSA scores went up again and again. And by the next January of that year, in 2016, my PSA scores were up to around 1701. It's really bad. At 4, they tell you better do something about this. I'd let it go as far as I could. My wife is on me every moment. Michael, do something about this. When are you going to phone? Get the biopsy. Make the appointment. Get the biopsy. No, I don't want to get the biopsy. I've done one of those before. It's really painful. You don't understand. It's like being raped in jail. You don't want that. Get it. Yeah. We can all say thanks to the wife, and it's all right, fine, whatever. At a Warriors game against the San Antonio Spurs, I was talking to Coach Al Addles, talking about defining moments, and he said, wait a second, do you mean to say you found out you got cancer 4 years ago and you ain't done nothing about it? Ray, man, come on down to my office, let's have a little chat. In the middle of the San Antonio Spurs game? Coach, you gotta be kidding. Well, if you know Al Addles, he never says anything as a joke. His voice is like as low as one of those guys down in the Temptations. And when he says, young man, come down to my office right now, you do. He said, shut the door, sit down, and shut up. What are you doing to your wife, Kathy? thought you was. What a sissy. What a pussy. What a coward. You're going to leave your wife alone like that and let her alone to die? You ain't going to do nothing about it? I thought you was a Vietnam veteran that had all these things, and you acting like a little sissy. You're going to walk away from this and be a coward? You want to punk. And I won't tell you everything else he said because it's like, Coach, I'm not afraid of anybody. Well, then you're afraid of cancer. And I said, leave me alone. Shut up. Don't tell me to shut up. You in my office. Nobody tells me to shut up. Order that biopsy. Take care of this shit. Do this shit now. God, man, and now you acting like a sissy. Make the call. And I said, but they're not open now. They can make the call. They got 24/7 answering service. Make the call. You're going to make your wife happy. Don't do this, Miss Kathy. I know her. She's a good woman. Everybody loves her. Respect her. What do you live for, man? Don't leave this office until you know what you live for. What the hell do you live for? You don't live for your pity ass. You live for your wife, that beautiful woman. She's seen you through all this. 8 concussions, my friend. Has she seen you through that? She's seen you through being a Vietnam vet like you are. I bet you got an emotional temple. I've seen you on the court. You argue with every referee out there. You'll argue with Draymond Green. I don't know anybody that argues with Draymond Green. So what are you afraid of? Get this shit done. So I came home, and then the next day, biopsy, April 25th, I told Coach Arnold, trust me, it's going to come back 0. I'm done. When we got the news, I fell to my knees. It was positive. And we had 90 seconds of tears. And Kathy said, this is like the worst day. And I thought, no, my worst day was getting in that helicopter with blood all over my socks. I hadn't showered in 6 days. I hadn't eaten in 3 or 4 days. We're out of water. My leg hurt like, it was 115 degrees. That's my worst day. I had enough of pity. I had enough of sorrow. I've had enough of this crap. 90 seconds, I'm done. We will get through this. Because you know what? We've been through 36 years together. And if you could get along with me that long, we'll get this together. We will. We called up, said, is it radiation? Is it chemo? Is it surgery? Then you find out your options. They're all terrible options. There are no good options with cancer, and you've got to face it. At first we opted for radiation. Found out that wasn't going to be good. They gave me chemo for 5 days. If you've ever had chemo, the insides of you are burning up like somebody poured gasoline down your throat forever, gallons, and never lit a fire. You just want to throw up every moment. So we said, no, we won't do that. We'll opt for surgery. The first surgeon that was going to do it didn't know anything about nerve bundle sparing surgery. These are little things you start to study about cancer. You study everything. My wife is an avid studier about everything. How are we going to get through this? She went totally vegan, got us totally vegan. I thought the best thing I could do is take more vitamins and work out playing basketball, take like 200 or 300 shots a day and walk 8-10 miles a day. Fine, I'll get myself in shape if that's what we got to do. We got a great doctor from Stanford, Dr. Son. He said, we can spare both nerve bundle sides. If you don't know what that means you won't be incontinent and pee for the rest of your life. You will have sexual function. It's pretty important after 36 years of good marriage. So there's a chance. He didn't want to guarantee anything. So I worked out for 2 months really hard. Really hard. I did Clay Thompson's workouts. I filmed his workouts. And I said, can I film you? He said, sure. Why? I said, because I'm working out for cancer. Oh yeah. All right, so I tried to emulate Clay Thompson's workouts. 5 miles on a half court, just putting up jumpers. By the time we got to surgery, September 14th, we said goodbye, and I thought, this has got to be the worst day in my life. No, that worst day, and I'm going to wrap this up, was in Vietnam. When I came to after about a 7-hour surgery, Kathy said, the doctor said, you're cancer-free. We saved both nerve bundle sides. Your husband's got this physiology like his body is like a 42-year-old, not 68. It was a technical dream, very little bleeding, spared both sides of the nerve bundles. He's going to be great. The next day I left, and we celebrated every day since. Denial kept me away from doing something about that cancer, but we've learned an awful lot. And what I want to spread to you is that since then I've read 2 books, 2 very important books for me. One is by George Carl, wonderful, famous coach, over 1,300 wins. He had prostate cancer first, experienced the same thing, the depression of, when am I going to get over this? Why me? And then a second cancer that he had called HNCC. If you've never heard of that, it's very rare. 1 in a million get it. You have a 1 in 8% chance of dying. And he beat that. In his book he said, I thought my life was about the NBA. When I looked after chemo, I looked around in my hospital room and I saw my wife, my kids, Kyla, Kayla, Kobe, and I thought, no, it's about the people that we love. All of you. So many of them that I've known in real estate for so long. Our families, our friends are what is important to us. Nothing defines us except our relationships. Lastly, I've been reading this wonderful book by Phil Jackson, 11 Rings. It's not about basketball, it's not about the championships. He's been called the Zen Master. It is what my wife told me. You need to become more Zen. Don't be the Rain Man on the basketball court, arguing with every call anymore. I really don't love that person. I want that sweet person. My wife's taught me a lot. I owe my life to my wife. She's helped me through all of this. She's been the captain of our ship. Sometimes you get really lucky in life. I was lucky to come out of Vietnam so many times. I was lucky to do what I've done. I was so lucky to have my wife. And so now I say, instead of cancer, I live for my wife. If cancer comes my way again, I'm gonna beat the hell out of it. It's coming my way. So, thank you for all the time.